Marcus Wells stared at the computer screen, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. It was 3:17 in the morning, and what he saw on the security camera made his blood run cold. Someone was in his house, someone dangerous, and his children, his precious twins, were in terrible danger. But let me tell you how we got here, because this nightmare didn't start tonight. It started 8 months ago, on what should have been the happiest day of Marcus's life. Marcus had everything a man could want: 3 successful restaurants, a beautiful wife, Elena, a mansion on a hill surrounded by iron gates and perfect gardens. And when Elena told him she was having twins, Marcus cried happy tears. He painted the nursery himself, soft yellow walls, white clouds, bought 2 cribs, hundreds of baby clothes, more toys than any 2 babies could ever need. The twins arrived on a rainy Tuesday, a boy and a girl, Jake and Lily. Perfect, tiny fingers, button noses, eyes full of trust. But something was wrong with Elena. She wouldn't hold them, wouldn't feed them, wouldn't even look at them. The nurses said she was tired. Give her time, they said, but it wasn't exhaustion. It was something darker. When Marcus begged her to help, she said something that shattered him. I never wanted this. I never wanted them. 3 weeks later, Marcus woke up to find her gone. Closet empty. Suitcase gone. Bank accounts drained. She'd taken everything, $2 million. Every cent. All she left was a note. I can't do this. Marcus sat on the kitchen floor and cried while his baby slept upstairs. How could she leave? How could she abandon her children? The next months were brutal. Marcus barely slept, barely ate. He lived on caffeine and fear. Fear that someone might hurt the twins. Fear that someone might betray him again. He hired a security company, 37 cameras, motion sensors, iron gates. His mansion became a fortress, a prison of his own making. He fired most of his staff. Only Tom, his driver of 12 years, remained. Marcus didn't trust anyone anymore, but he couldn't do it alone. He needed help. He needed a nanny. The first one lasted 2 days. The second, a week. The third quit because of the cameras. It feels like a prison, she said. The 4th, 5th, and 6th didn't last either. The twins were 4 months old now, Jake with Marcus's dark hair, Lily with Elena's green eyes, a painful reminder of betrayal. Marcus tried to be strong, but he was drowning. Then, one cold October morning, there was a knock at the door. Her name was Sophie. She was different, calm, kind, unbothered by the cameras. She smiled a real, gentle smile and asked to meet the twins. In the nursery, Sophie knelt beside the cribs and whispered, "Hello, little ones. My name is Sophie, and I'm going to take very good care of you." Lily stopped crying. Jake giggled. "These babies are loved," Sophie said softly. "I can tell. They're lucky to have you." Something inside Marcus loosened just a little. He hadn't felt that in months. He hired her that day. For the first time in forever, he felt a spark of hope. But he didn't know hope can be fragile. And this fragile peace wouldn't last. Because at 3:17 a.m., everything would fall apart again. Sophie changed everything. The mansion no longer felt like a tomb. She sang to the twins, played with them, filled the house with laughter. She opened the curtains Marcus had kept closed, let sunlight in, brought flowers from a garden. Within weeks, Jake and Lily were happier than ever, and Marcus started to heal. He watched through the cameras out of habit more than fear now. At first, he looked for mistakes, but Sophie never slipped. She was patient, gentle, perfect. Weeks passed. Marcus even started eating dinner with her, sharing quiet conversations about life and the twins. "You can call me Marcus," he told her one evening. "Okay, Marcus," she smiled. But the fear never left completely. Late at night, when everyone slept, he still sat in front of the glowing monitors, watching, always watching. Sophie noticed. She saw the dark circles under his eyes, the tension in his jaw. One evening, she knocked on his office door. "I'm worried about you," she said softly. "I'm fine," Marcus replied. "No, you're not," Sophie said. "You never sleep. You're afraid all the time." Marcus, You build a fortress, but you're still not safe. Not really. You have to learn to trust again. Marcus looked at her, pain in his eyes. How do I know you won't leave too? You don't, she said gently. You just have to trust me. He wanted to believe her. Okay, he whispered. I'll try. 2 peaceful weeks passed. The twins laughed, babbled, rolled over on their own. Life almost felt normal. Until the night everything shattered. At 3:10 a.m., Marcus's phone buzzed. System offline. All cameras disconnected. His blood turned to ice. The cameras never failed. Ever. He ran barefoot to his office. 37 black screens stared back. Every feed dead. He called Sophie. No answer. He sprinted upstairs, heart pounding. Sophie's room empty. Her bed unslept. Sophie, he shouted. He tore down the hall to the nursery. The lights were off. Too dark. When he flipped the switch, his stomach dropped. Sophie was on the floor, hands tied behind her back, tape over her mouth, eyes wide with terror. The cribs were overturned. The twins were crying. And in the corner, a masked man stood holding a crowbar. Don't move, he growled. Marcus froze. What do you want? You're safe, the man hissed. Open it. Now. Marcus's mind raced. Okay, just don't hurt my children. The man smirked. Open the safe and I'll leave. Marcus led him to his bedroom, praying the babies would stay quiet. His trembling fingers turned the safe dial. Cash, jewelry, everything inside was dumped into a bag. Then the man said something that made Marcus's blood run cold. Tell Elena I said hello. And he was gone. Marcus stood in stunned silence. Elena. He ran back to the nursery, ripped the tape from Sophie's mouth. The babies, she gasped. Check the babies. They were scared but unharmed. Marcus held them close, whispering, Daddy's here. You're safe. But he knew it was a lie. He called 911 with shaking hands. Someone broke into my house. My children, my nanny, they need help. 10 minutes later, flashing lights lit the mansion. Detective Sarah Chun led the investigation. When Sophie explained everything, the detective's eyes narrowed. The man mention Elena? She asked. Marcus nodded. My ex-wife. Why would he say her name? Marcus didn't have an answer. Not yet. But soon, the truth would come out, and it would be worse than anything he imagined. The police found a clue, a crumpled receipt from a Nevada gas station. On the back, a phone number. Marcus's hands shook when he saw it. That's Elena's number. 2 days later, Detective Chun called. We've arrested them. Your ex-wife and her boyfriend, Derek Stone. Marcus sat down, numb. Tell me everything. Elena had gambled away every cent of the $2 million. Met Derek, a con man, who used her to plan the robbery. She'd told him about the safe, the security system, everything. She'd beg him not to hurt the children. Marcus wanted to scream. She still cared about them? Maybe, Detective Chin said, but she still chose this. When asked if Marcus wanted to see Elena, at first he said no. But then he needed closure. At the police station, Elena looked broken, thin, pale, shaking. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Marcus, I'm so sorry. You sent a criminal into our home, he said quietly. You terrified our children. You tied up Sophie. You did this. I didn't think anyone would get hurt, she cried. I was sick, Marcus. The gambling, it took everything. You could have called me, he whispered. I would have helped you. But you didn't. And now you'll never see them again. Elena nodded, tears falling. Tell them their mother loves them. Marcus walked away. He didn't look back. Elena got 7 years in prison. Derek got 15. Life began to heal. Sophie stayed. She filled the house with warmth again. Flowers, laughter, bedtime songs. Marcus reopened the mansion, let the staff return, the sunlight pour in. He read to the twins every night, held them close. And one evening he told Sophie, you saved us, not just that night, but every day since. Will you stay? Not as a nanny, but as family. She smiled softly. Yes, Marcus, I'll stay. For the first time in nearly a year, Marcus felt peace. He learned something powerful. You can't control everything, but you can choose how to respond. You can choose fear, or you can choose hope. You can stay broken, or you can heal. So here's the question. What would you do? When your world falls apart, do you build walls? Or do you find the courage to trust again? Those walls might feel safe, but they also keep out the good things. Love, connection, joy, hope. Today, choose to trust one person. Choose to believe again. Because the people who run from love end up like Elena, alone and full of regret. But those who choose love, even when it's hard, end up like Marcus, healing, growing, rebuilding. So what will you choose? Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to rebuild trust after someone broke it? How did you find the courage to try again? Your story might inspire someone who's struggling right now. And if this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get back up, and choose to love anyway. Now it's your turn. Your story isn't over. What will you do next?